So you have a problem sticking to your diet. If so, then this video is for you. Now, today I want to talk about sticking to your diet. So a lot of you probably like me have issues sticking with your diet. So what I want to do is talk about 3 things that will really help you on your health or fitness journey. Now, before we get into this video, if you find any value of this, please make sure to subscribe for more awesome videos just like this. And because it helps a lot with the algorithm, it helps more people get this and see this and allows me to help them. Please drop a like on this video. So number one, establishing a goal. So what is the why? What is the reason? So why, right? So is it weight loss? Is it stronger? You want to look better? You want to feel better? Your health, it's deteriorating, whatever. You want to feel more confident. There's so many reasons, but why is it exactly that you need to do or you need to adhere to a particular type of food plan? I don't really call it a diet. I would just call it a meal plan. That's what I like to call it. So how do you stick to your meal plan? And I find that if you have something very black and white and concrete, it can really help you get results, and it can really help. So like, for me, for example, when I have like travel plans coming up, like in a couple weeks, I'm going to Europe, right? Or, some people, summer's coming up, beach season, etc. For fear of embarrassing myself, for not looking the best that I can, I want to present and represent the best of my abilities and feel confident, right? A good motivator, it's a very good motivator for me. So I'm going to stick to my meal plan. If I don't have anything specific lined up, then like, honestly, hey, like I might have that extra cookie. It's not the end of the world. Okay, I might have a protein cookie, so it's better macros, right? I'm not just going to go and like get Chips Ahoy. Um, but or I'd be like, yeah, whatever, I'll start tomorrow. Or like, I fucked up my lunch, I forgot to bring it to work, so like I'm just gonna forget the rest of the day and start tomorrow. Whatever, I'll just start tomorrow. All those things happen, and I'm sure that you and everybody else watching this video can relate to that. But if you have a goal and there's a very clear why and there's a very clear reason that you said that's like the number one thing, then everything else doesn't really matter. Like it doesn't matter. So then how can you work towards that? And how can you do that? Is it by taking pictures of yourself every week, right? Is it by getting your body fat measured or your measurements, right? Maybe your goal is to build strength and muscle. So maybe every month or every 6 weeks, 12 weeks, you want to periodize a plan to measure out your 1RM, which is a 1 rep max, which is not something I'm like super fond of. But if that's your goal, then that makes sense. Like my point is that you have to have a goal, but then you have to have checkpoints along the way to ensure that you're moving towards that goal. And like, honestly, if you don't have any checkpoints, then it's kind of just this thing like, hey, and look, I love my mom, but she's a perfect example. She's lost 20 pounds 20 times in the last 20 years, right? So that's not really like a dead set goal. If you have a dead set goal, I want to lose 20 pounds in this time for this specific reason, then do it. And don't let anything stop you or get in your way. But if you're just like, hey, I'm trying to lose 30 pounds whenever, then like, what is it? Is it in a month? Is it in a year? Is it in 2 years? Is it in a millennium? Right? If you break it down into real, like you need to break it down to really clear pieces. I want to lose 30 pounds over the course of 6 months. And then you can kind of tell if you're on track or you're not, what adjustments you need to make, what you need to take away, et cetera, et cetera. Water break. Make sure to drink. So you need whatever benchmarks or whatever you need to measure. So like maybe you can get a coach to help you keep accountable, right? That's one of the biggest benefits of working with me. So you can do weekly check-ins or sometimes daily check-ins. Maybe you don't need a coach. Maybe you just need to establish those things. So each week you're measuring your body fat, you're taking pictures, you're doing scale, whatever. So if you're trying to gain muscle, that doesn't really happen really quickly because I know like I would say 99% of you watching this video is probably corresponding to weight loss. But on the 1% you're trying to build muscle, you got to do it a little bit different because it takes a long time to build muscle, especially naturally, even unnaturally, right? So the best way to do it accurately, other than pictures, other than measurements, would be something like a DEXA scan. But that's a whole long complication. I'm not going to bore you on what that is. But again, you need to make sure that you're headed in the right direction. So I just want to summarize this point by saying you need to have a clear goal, and then you have to have ways to measure and keep yourself on track and accountable to reach those goals. Something like a community, right? I have a school community, which I'll talk about a little later in this video. It's 100% free. It'll be one of the first couple links in the description below. That will also help a lot because you have like-minded people doing the same thing that you're struggling with. Everybody's on their weight loss journey. They're all trying to encourage each other to do better, live longer, better, talk about their goals, what's working, what's not. They're not all my clients. It's just number 2 would be discipline. Now, everybody starts out motivated, and it's like, what happens over the new year? What I found is that a lot of people, they want to wait for a certain time, and then they procrastinate. And then, all of a sudden, like the holidays come, and then like November, December with all the holidays, and then in January everybody's motivated. They're gonna have a lot of new goals, right? Because it's the New Year's resolution. They're gonna set themselves goals, and that's a good thing. But then what happens in March? Or like honestly, let's be real. Most of us not even going to make it to March. So in February, a lot of times that motivation is going to go down and down and down. So then this is probably the biggest takeaway in this whole video. What happens is you're either going to quit or you don't hit your goal, or discipline's going to kick in. So discipline becomes very important. Now, it's very easy for me to sit here and talk to you on this camera and tell you to be disciplined, but the reality is it's a lot harder than that, right? I'm not going to bullshit you, right? So there are some things that you can do, in my opinion, that are going to help you maintain your discipline. I want you to kind of take a psychological like evaluation of yourself, right? And a lot of this with a weight loss journey or a health and fitness journey, it comes down to building habits sustainably, and it's psychologically, right? Setting yourself up for success long term, building habits, right? So if you have junk food around the house, like who doesn't? A lot of you watching this do, okay? And I'm not going to tell you to go throw everything else because that's a lot of wasted money. But are you disciplined enough to avoid it when the time gets tough? Now your answer might be yes, but it might be no. It's probably no, right? There may be that like certain food that like maybe it's not a good idea for you to have bags and bags and bags and bags of it in the house because maybe you can't get rid of it and it's a little harder. Like it depends on your situation. Maybe you have kids, right? Sometimes they have different things that like if you have like little kids, they have Rice Krispies, they have whatever, and they can get away with it because they're younger and they're not trying to lose weight, right? But if it's me personally, I can avoid those things. Or for me personally, I don't ever have junk food, chips, or my vice. I don't really have many vices, but I wouldn't have that in the house. When I was much bigger or starting the weight loss journey, I just wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't bring it into the house because then I can't binge on it, right? And if it's something like chips, again, not to plug the school community, but I have a whole module breaking down some amazing recommendations for like protein options for chips or whatever. If it's something like chips or a chocolate bar, I have healthier alternatives to help me conquer that craving without part of my French, without fucking up my goals, right? But it's all a matter of like what you can do. So how much can you handle? And so that's one part to this, like from temptations. That's the word I was looking for in your house, right? The other thing is a lot of people like to keep what they're doing to themselves. And I know a lot of people like they tell their friends or they don't want to tell their friends and they don't want to tell their families. But for me and my opinion, you should tell them. You know why? Because if they're true good family and they're true good friends, they're going to help you keep accountable. I will give you a perfect example of this. I'm wearing a sweater, otherwise I would show you. But the first tattoo I ever got, I was 17, and I was terrified because everybody I talked to, oh, it's so painful. You're going to regret it. Blah 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 blah. But I told almost every single person I knew. And it made me accountable to not bitch out and not back out of that appointment and actually go and get it done. And it was so rewarding because then I showed everybody the picture and I showed them the tattoo. It's a picture of my old, my first dog. One of my favorite dogs. I only have 3, but point is that helped me stay accountable. So I would recommend telling your friends, telling your family about it. It kind of ties in with number 1. Without having a clear way to measure your goals, this is just a little bit more easy. I want you to talk to them about your friends and your family and tell them you have a goal to help you keep like yourself on track, right? I was voice to texting this, so I'm getting confused with the third person because what happens a lot is that your family or friends may not even know you have a goal. And then they're going to ask you, hey man, like, let's go grab some pizza. Let's go grab some burgers and beers. Whereas if they know, like you're open about it and you're like, hey, I know, they're going to be like, hey, I know you have a goal. I know you're sticking to this plan. You know, maybe they would alter what they wanted to do to support you, especially if they give a shit about you and your goals. Right. Now you don't know unless you ask, but truthfully, I'm very grateful to have I'm getting emotional thinking about it, but I have a great support system around me because honestly, you're either fit in or fuck off. Like if the support system I have judges me because I'm going to bring a protein shake to a family event, like I'm not going to hang out with that. You know what I mean? Or like if my friend group, it's the same thing, right? And I'm not trying to alter their life, but it's what I choose to do, right? So true friends and true family will want to support you and your goals and let you have success, right? So enlist your friends, make sure that they're going to help you to your goals. And again, I know I always tell people that like from the psychological profile, like do what you can handle. And if you can't handle a lot of temptations, then obviously get the stuff out of the house and then go from there. So that's number 2. Okay. Now, number 3, fun food. So 3 is used as like a 90-10 rule. So this means that 90% of your food is going to be good. Ideally like single food ingredients, right? So like steak is a cow, right? That's a single food ingredient. And then 10% is going to be a little bit of fun food. So we talked about having measurable goals. We talked about being disciplined. But in some cases, I believe that allowing that 10% of fun food is really good idea for most people. And I do this for myself. So, but again, I'm not saying like to go get, well, I think of the word fun food, I'm thinking of like candy, right? Maybe that's not the greatest idea. But anyways, for example, let's say you eat 5 times a day, right? And don't get overwhelmed. Like it's not like you're eating 1,000 calories a sitting, but that means every 2 days you're going to be able to have one meal that you enjoy. So 5 meals a day, and 10% of your meal should be like a fun meal. So that does not mean though, right? That does not mean that you go to the buffet and you eat until you're sick. For me personally, I would rather be super strict for about 3 weeks and then go have like a binge type buffet type meal. But it's not my personal recommendation for you because most people, let's be real, you don't have 100% discipline to stay like 100% on plan for 3 consecutive weeks, right? So it just means that like if there's something that you are kind of craving that you enjoy, like I like French toast, so I might just have that as one of my meals. So go ahead and do it, but also try to make a healthier alternative or substitution if possible. So if you're craving pizza, I have a cookbook. If you're watching this video and you want the recipes, drop a comment or email or DM me. I'll send you the recipe. It's not an issue. I don't have a video. I haven't filmed it. I might drop a comment if you want to see that. But point is, if you're craving pizza, don't order a fucking Domino's pizza. Make it yourself. But then that's good. But that's still like going off of plan. But that's still a much better alternative. Or French toast. Honestly, you can make healthy French toast. I have a recipe for that. But yeah, it's funny how your mind works because for those of you that have like dieted really, really hard, if any of you have done that watching this, what happens is like when you go to a grocery store, you see other foods that you normally wouldn't even bother you, right? But now all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, that looks so good. I want to try that. And then and then when your diet's over, you're kind of loosening it up a bit. Now you don't even want it anymore. It's kind of funny how your mind works in that, like whatever you can't have, you want it more. It's just really interesting psychologically, the dilemma. So this is the way to get around that. And that's the 90-10 rule. Another option you could do would be like for a date night. So if you kind of allow for that, you could have a little bit of fun time. You could be super strict, and then you could have a date night. You can go, and when you go for the date night, you order steak, and like you order a steak, right? So you don't have those out of control cravings. Now, listen, it's going to be incredibly hard, whether it's 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, right? And eat no fun food. It's really hard, and that's just reality. And you can talk about this. But my point is number 2 is discipline. You need it to get leaner, but the leaner and the longer you do it for, the harder this becomes. The longer you stick to a diet, the harder it's going to become. And a lot of it's psychological, right? Because not to bore you, but there's changes in your chemical imbalances with your brain because you're going to be craving things, right? So then again, that's the 90-10 rule. It allows you to have a little bit of fun, it allows you to enjoy some things. Maybe on Sunday morning, you wake up, you have some donuts, some pancakes, whatever. But it also gives you the benefit of something to look forward to. So for myself recently, I dieted really, really hard for 4 weeks. I have Europe. I'm going away in Europe. But before I leave, I wanted to take a couple clients out for sushi. So I didn't cheat at all for like 4 weeks. And then I binged. But I was super dead set focused because it gave me something to look forward to. Now, I talked about your friends and your family being supportive, and this is a way that you can go out and do some things with them as well. So maybe that's a meal that you want to do it, or an event, or like whatever. And so then you're also reinforcing your friendships or your families or relationships, right? You don't want to isolate that. You don't want to like, oh, I'm on a diet, I'm never going to see you again, right? So then this would become more of like a lifestyle thing, right? And you can't really look at this as like a diet, right? And that's like the way to eat, like the only way, because like some people are like, no, you just have to eat fucking chicken, rice, and broccoli for the rest of your life. It sounds great in theory. It's fantastic. And that's great if you can do that, like if you're the 0.01%. But for many of us watching this, it's just not that possible. It's not doable. It's not easy. And I don't want to wake up every day eating chicken and rice, right? And I wouldn't enjoy that. So to have a little bit of fun food, it can make it a little bit more bearable, and it can make it more of a lifestyle change and a long-term like habit changing building. And again, you can look forward to that. Now, look, ultimately, nobody's going to be able to force you to do any of this. Nobody's going to be able to get you to work out. Nobody's going to be able to get you to eat properly. Nobody's going to be able to help you to teach you about nutrition, about how to do this long term. And I know firsthand, I was once in your shoes. I was struggling with this for decades. I lost 150 pounds, right? And there's so much misinformation on the internet. It feels like your head's spinning because you don't know where to go, who to listen to, or what to do, or what to follow, or what to do, and what diet and keto and OMAD and fucking Ozepic. And you probably really, really want to lose the weight, but it seems like you've tried everything under the sun and you've tried every diet and nothing's going to work. Now, if this is you, what I would encourage you to do is the first link in the description down below is going to be 100% free game plan chat that will allow me to help you make a custom game plan. We will talk about your nutrition, what you're doing for workout or not. And allow me to see if we'd be a good fit to work together. Now, if that's not something you're open to right now, or maybe you're just not ready for that, that's totally cool. Again, it's 100% free. But then I have, like I mentioned, the free weight loss community that is designed with a bunch of videos just like this, that is going to be designed to help you on your weight loss goal or your health and fitness journey. And it also has a bunch of like-minded people and individuals in this community that would be the second link in the description below. Now, I know this is a bit longer of a video that I normally post, but I really appreciate you watching this all the way to the end. If you can, drop a comment down below. Tell me what you found most important or what you liked about this, and if you have any other ideas about videos that you would like to see for me to do in the future. And until next time, I will see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching.